get our page set up. What's that? Oh, good thing I have extras right here. Okay, so we're going to be writing a system of equations for a real-world problem, and we're going to solve it, okay? So let's take a look. First thing I want to point out to you is standard form, because you guys have seen it a lot, but I don't think you know that's what it's called. Okay, so standard form for a linear equation looks like this. It's some constant times x plus some constant times y is equal to some number, like a total type thing, okay? And like I said, we've been using this form a lot. You didn't know it was called standard form, so I just wanted to make that clear. So if you have a question that says write it in standard form or something funky like that, you know what form we're talking about. Okay, let's take a look at the first example. A baseball coach takes her team out for pizza every time they win a game. Not everyone can come each time, so she orders the pizzas based on how many players are coming. After last week's victory, she bought 5 small pizzas and 3 large pizzas, the perfect amount for 22 players going out for pizza. This week there were 30 players going, so she ordered 5 small pizzas and 5 large pizzas, which was also just the right amount. How many people does each size pizza feed? Okay, so we've got 2 situations. We've got last week's and we have this week's. So let's first look at last week's. Last week she bought 5 small, 3 large for 22 players. Now, when I'm doing word problems like this, I do prefer to use the variables that make sense in the situation. Hugo, can you take that out? I'm teaching. Thank you. Okay. So in this case, it would be 5 small pizzas, so 5 times the number of people a small feeds, plus 3 times L, because that's large. I'm using that for a large. And then the amount of players it feeds is 22. So I do prefer to use those variables, even though I don't usually use S, but it's fine. S is standing for small pizzas. L is large, okay? Now, if we fast forward to this week, okay, you have 30 players, 5 smalls and 5 larges, okay? So 5 smalls, 5 larges is going to feed 30 players. So when we figure out what S and L are, that's how many people each pizza feeds. So I'm going to subtract these two equations just because then this will nicely cancel out. So I'm going to subtract the whole thing. So 5S minus 5S has a value of 0. 3L, 3 larges minus 5 larges is negative 2 larges. 22 minus 30 is negative 8. Divide both sides by negative 2. And I get that larges feed 4 people. Larges feed 4 people. Now I'm going to plug 4 back in to one of the equations and find out how many people small pizzas feed. So I'm going to do 5s plus 3 times 4, because we already know what L is, Then I'm going to solve for s. Oh, I wrote that down wrong. I was like, why isn't this working? It does when you write the right number down. Okay. So 5s is equal to 10, which means s is equal to 2. Okay, so we're saying that a small pizza feeds 2 people, a large feeds 4. So let's write that down. A small pizza feeds 2 people, and a large feeds 4. Okay? Make sense? Okay. See if you can do that second one, and then I'll have something to show you after that. So go ahead and try that second one. See if you can write the equations just like we did on that first one, and then solve your system. Is this the system you guys got? Yeah. Has anybody found out how much the crab dinners cost yet? Yeah. Robbie?
$32.
Raise your hand if you got 32. Fabulous. Okay. Yeah, you could just subtract this whole thing out, and these would cancel out. You'd have C is equal to 32. Okay. Now my warning for you, and I'm a little disappointed. I thought this was a more rigorous problem when I put it in here, but I realized it cancels out nicely, is that they're not always going to be so pretty. And I have a system on the board here to show you. Sometimes there is not a nice number to multiply one or both equations by. For instance, 57 and 31 are both prime numbers. That's a mess, okay? And it might take you a little while to find a common factor for these two. So on these problems, I would do this. I personally would multiply the first one by negative 31. I'd multiply the second one by 57. Your numbers are going to be huge, so use a calculator, but then it should easily cancel out after that. Okay? And on that note, I made a modification on your homework. Your homework is IXL code 11. Okay? Instead of going by the SMART score today, I want you to correctly answer 4 questions. It doesn't have to be in a row, just 4 questions, and that's all that I am expecting of you. I want you to get practice and correctly solve 4 questions.
Well, I already did the homework.
Right? Then you just have some other stuff to make up on the board. All right.